Joining us now, he's a former reporter and editor at the Detroit News and is currently the executive director of Arise Detroit. Luther Keith is now joining us on the MegaCast. Luther, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah, appreciate having you on. So you are the executive director of Arise Detroit. Tell us a little bit about your organization and the work that it does to support our communities.
Well, thanks again. Well, Arise Detroit is, we call ourselves a coalition of more than 400 churches, block clubs, and community groups promoting volunteerism, community activism, and positive media images to create a better Detroit. Our basic goal in mission and call to action is to get people to step up and engage to improve their neighborhoods in Detroit, right where you live. We are not a direct service organization, but we provide some resources where we can. But our goal is to motivate people to kind of light the flame of community engagement, community involvement, and volunteerism, so people can improve their neighborhoods and understand that we all have a role to play. We just can't call talk shows and complain at the barbershop or the beauty salon. We are living in the blocks. We are living in neighborhoods. So let's look around and see what we can do ourselves personally to engage and to make our communities and neighborhoods the kind of neighborhoods we all want to live in.
You can find more information about Arise Detroit and donate to the organization by visiting their website at arisedetroit.org. We're joined by Executive Director Luther Keith on the MegaCast. And so what inspired you to start this organization?
Well, as you know, I was a professional journalist at the Detroit News for more than 30 years, doing a lot of different things. I was a sports writer, political reporter, a business editor, an assistant managing editor, a senior editor, columnist. So I had a very long and fruitful career. And when I was a columnist, I would write columns about how we can improve the neighborhoods of Detroit. I would write about crime or education, literacy, business, what have you. And oftentimes people would say, well, Luther, that's a good idea. Who's going to do it? Luther, that's a good idea. Who's going to do it? And then sometime I would get calls and emails from white readers who would say, why aren't Black people doing anything about their problems in Detroit? And then I would get calls and emails from Black folks saying, we are trying to form a block club or youth program. Can we get some publicity to get people to engage in what we're trying to do? And so after a while, it occurred to me that what we needed in Detroit was not necessarily a group to, more groups to feed, clothe, and shelter. We needed a group to advocate on behalf of all the groups that are already doing that, to encourage people to support the groups that are out here. What I have come to coin called the transformation community. By that, I mean any church, block club, community group, or person that's trying to doing something positive to improve the neighborhoods or the community is this huge transformation community, which ends up being hundreds of organizations and thousands of people all across the city. So my thought was to create an organization that would encourage folks to get involved, to volunteer, and not just volunteer, but to understand that we all have a role to play. And the idea of Arise Detroit is simply to reach out to people and to get the community group that has 10 volunteers, maybe to get them 20, the cleanup program that has 50, maybe get them 100. And at the same time, while we encourage people to be involved, I thought it needed a strong media component, for this call of action. If you recognize that every movement has had a communication platform. If you go back to drums and smoke signals, radio, TV, and of course today the internet. So my thought was to not just tell people, to urge people to get involved, but to use the platform of media. And fortunately, we have some great media partners in radio, TV, and newspapers. And so we try to use the media to put the spotlight on these great, inspiring efforts going on all around our city to get more people involved. And people say, like, why aren't we doing that? Why can't we do that? And so as a result of that, we've been able to grow our movement. We started with 22 founding organizations. Now we have more than 400 that have been involved in our activities all across the city of Detroit. Of course, our big annual event is our annual Neighborhoods Day event, which we just celebrated the 15th year. We promoted and marketed more than 1,700 community projects of all kinds all across the city. In every neighborhood, we bring together people of all kinds, all faiths, all incomes, all races, around a common interest of creating a better community. And fortunately, the community has responded. I like to say that Arise Detroit is not a it's not an idea whose time has come. It's an idea that community wants to come to. And actually, Arise is actually an acronym. It stands for Activating Resources and Inspiring Empowerment. So our goal is our motto is be part of the change. So if you give people a reason, if you reach out to them, they will respond, and that's what we're seeing with Arise Detroit.
We're joined by Luther Keith. He is the executive director of Arise Detroit. You can learn more information about the organization and ways that you can get involved and help them out by visiting their website at arisedetroit.org. Again, that is arisedetroit.org. And so you mentioned the 15th annual Neighborhoods Day. It happened back in August. It was the 15th iteration of that event. On Neighborhoods Day, you mentioned it's a number of projects that are happening all throughout the city with your partnering organizations and with volunteers as well. How has that grown over the last 15 years, and how do you expect that to continue to grow in the future as we eventually do get out from behind the COVID-19 crisis?
Well, it's been tremendous. Most times in the city of Detroit, in a lot of places, when you have community events, everybody goes to one place. We all go downtown. We all go to Belle Isle. We go to fireworks downtown. We decided that after we first launched the Rise Detroit that we wanted to do something in the neighborhoods. Our first big event was actually in 2006 when we started. We had a huge volunteer fair in downtown Detroit at Campus Martius Park. We had about 50 nonprofits, and we invited people to come down and sign up and volunteer. That went well, but the next year we said, why don't we do something in the neighborhoods? And one of our board members, Jane Thomas, who has since passed, had an idea that we first thought was crazy. He said, why can't we do something in all the neighborhoods of Detroit? And we said, we can't do that. We're a little organization, but we thought about it. And think about what happens in churches on Sunday all over Detroit. In most communities, people of all faiths go to their respective houses of worship and worship in their own way all over the city. So let's take that motto and apply it to this new event that we're going to call Neighborhoods Day, which is held on the first Saturday of every August. And on this day, we ask Black people in churches and Black communities not to go one place downtown, but to do something in their own neighborhood to show how they're making a difference in their neighborhood. So we had in that first year, we had 55 events, which was a lot, but we had people painting houses, cleaning up neighborhoods, having youth programs, parades, concerts, all kinds of events, events to help seniors, events for children. And from that first year of 55 events all over the city in different zip codes again, it quickly grew to 100, then 150 to over 200. For our 10th anniversary, we had, if you can imagine this, over 300 events all over the city of Detroit on the same day. And on a normal year, we have at least 200 because of COVID, of course, which hit 2 years ago. Everything changed because a lot of these events, we have huge crowds that gather, some large, some small. So we couldn't do it that way. So in 2020, we came up with a slogan called Stay Safe, Create Your Space. And we had people do small events on their houses, on their front lawns, in their neighborhoods. We kept all the events small with 10 people or less. And with that, encourage people to social distance and mask up. But even in the depths of the pandemic, we had over 100 groups participate. This year, of course, we had the vaccine and things have loosened up a little bit, but we still, of course, have the pandemic and those safety concerns. But this year, because of the vaccine and other reasons, we grew to more than 150 events. Again, still in the pandemic, which tells us that people want to show their community pride. We didn't want to be one of the organizations that we have a big event and because of the pandemic, it goes away and then people forget about that event. So we've been able to maintain this. We had a great event of all over the city again. We had youth golf tournaments and all kind of manner of people cleaning up neighborhoods, festivals and concerts, food giveaways, school supply giveaways. And so we know that this is something that people want to respond to. But again, neighborhoods is just one day. We are one of the things, again, that we do throughout the year. We're partnering with organizations promoting their events. We have a newsletter that if you go to our website, arisedetroit.org, you can sign up for, which comes out every week to several thousand subscribers, and it's full of information on community programs, volunteering, job opportunities, a lot of safety information, where you can get vaccinated, where you can get tested. And so that's been a great tool to advocate on behalf of other organizations, because I see Rise Detroit as an advocate for all the nonprofit groups out here. So everything is not about us. It's about how we can serve all these organizations. And what we have found is that most of these organizations who are doing this work, they get up every day and they're looking for people to help them, where they can find a partner. And so Arise Detroit is a partner to all of these groups. And there was a saying that the great boxer Joe Louis out of Detroit said during World War II, when he was doing work for the war effort. And he said an expression that we, instead of saying that God is on his side, we are on God's side. And I think that is how people feel about Arise Detroit. Arise Detroit is on their side. You don't have to be the most prosperous. You don't have to be a big foundation taken over by a foundation. We just want to know how we can help you and create the community that you want to have. So that's what people have responded to. And we've been able to help make. We're a very small organization, but our through technology of today, our reach is much farther than we could be in way back before the days of the internet and technology. So we've been able to really maintain that connection with people, and the people show us how much they appreciate it. And that's the fact that the number of people who respond to this, if people weren't responding, we wouldn't be here. What has made us is the fact that people understand that what we do makes a difference. And even though we don't come in and we fix a whole roof, but we'll find somebody maybe that can come fix your roof. We can't clean up your neighborhood by ourselves. We'll find people to come to it. So it starts with the individual. And as a result of neighborhood difference, a lot of people say we don't have a block club, but now we're going to form one. And one of our board members, Tony McElwain, who for years ran the Ravendale Community Detroit, she has a saying which I have borrowed or stolen, but I think it's very important. And it goes like this: most people are waiting to be led. Most people are waiting to be led. They'll get involved, but they don't think they're a leader. And as my dear departed mother once said, Jesus is coming, but he's probably not coming tonight. He's probably not coming tonight. And if he's not coming, what are you going to do to make a difference? So the idea again is about look into the mirror, get involved, get engaged. And I can tell you that, I'm just totally inspired by all the people that I've seen and have encountered doing this work. It's such a great feeling. And people often ask me for years, Luther, don't you miss being a journalist? Because I had a great career. I was on TV and had my own column. And actually, I'm doing a lot of that now anyway. But when you're a columnist, you can't make everybody happy no matter what you write, no matter what opinion you write. I could write a column saying we should all love each other, and people say, Luther, that's crazy. You can't do that. Now when people ask me what I do, I say I run a nonprofit to help children and families improve life in Detroit. Nobody says like, I'm against that. I want to fight you about that. They say, oh, really? How can I get involved? How can I help? So every day we're meeting in a place of common ground. We are debating people. We aren't trying to persuade people to vote this way or vote that way. We have, what we're about is we want a better community. You want a better community. How can we together make our community better? Let me help you. Maybe you can help me. And so we live in a place with the Rise of Detroit. Our work brings people together on common ground. We don't live in a world of conflict. We don't live in a world of debate. And there's a place for all of that. We understand that. But at the end of the day, we all have much more in common than divides us. And if we can focus on that, we can get tremendous things done in our community. And the last 15, 16 years with the Rise Detroit demonstrates that.
We're joined by Luther Keith. He is the executive director of Arise Detroit. Learn more information on how you can get involved as well by going to their website at arisedetroit.org. And recently, being that we are still in the middle of the pandemic, that's of course affecting service in some situations and definitely affecting our relationships with our community and the ways that we interact with other people. Because of the current situation with COVID-19 in the state of Michigan, certainly in the city of Detroit as well, you and your organization have been making a greater push of late to encourage people to get vaccinated against COVID-19. What was the inspiration or the impetus behind that current push to get Detroiters vaccinated?
Well, simply because we're looking around and people are dying. People are dying. People that we know, people that we love, all over our community. And we looked around this year, and we actually issued a formal statement encouraging Detroiters to get vaccinated because we felt that it was such an urgent need. Detroit's numbers in terms of vaccination are some of the lowest of any major city, below 50% here in the city of Detroit. Over 2,400 people have died since the onset of the pandemic. So we did have earlier this month our annual we call it our neighborhood summit, which generally focuses on getting people to talk about how they can improve their communities. We had it virtually this year. Normally you have over 400 people downtown at the Wayne County Community College downtown campus, a whole day of workshops. So this year we did it virtually and focused on health. So we had doctors on talking about vaccination. We had the City of Detroit's Chief Public Health Officer, Denise Fiorazzo, on. We had Deputy Director Codman Mallard, who are spearheading the campaign to get Detroiters vaccinated. We had Detroiters talking about why they got vaccinated. We had people talking about the impact of COVID on education and students and parents. So we just think that this is an urgent time, a time of crisis, a time that we've never seen before in our lifetimes. And we could not just do a traditional type of event. And this is urgent. We all want to get back to that place we call normal. I don't know if we'll ever get back to what we saw, but we can definitely make it better. And that's why we felt that we had to step up and do what we can do to encourage people to get vaccinated, respecting people's political beliefs and their religious beliefs. But beyond that, we just felt that it's the number one thing we can do to make our community better and to save our loved ones, And that was our main impetus.
We're joined by Luther Keith, the Executive Director of Arise Detroit. And of course, we're in the holiday season. People are looking to help organizations throughout our communities that are helping other people as well. And so at this time, what sort of volunteer opportunities are available with Arise Detroit? And then beyond that, what are some other ways that people can help your organization do the great work that it does in Detroit?
Well, the thing to understand about Arise Detroit and volunteerism is that we do not do the volunteerism. Our organizations in our network do the volunteering. So again, we don't manage the volunteers. We connect people to the groups that do volunteer, like Detroit Blight Busters for one, or Block Clubs. So that's the way our Neighbors Day event works. People will contact us, and then we connect them. Like I said, we have several hundred organizations. So if someone contacts us or emails us at info@arisedetroit.org, we could connect them to volunteer opportunities of all kinds, food pantries, kitchens, that type of thing, working in neighborhood groups, literacy programs. We have organizations that are, literally every quality of life issue in the city of Detroit, we have a connection with one of those groups, and we're kind of like a traffic cop, if you will, routing volunteers. So that's one way. Of course, we're a small nonprofit funded by foundations and some corporate support, but of course we welcome any donations by going to our website. You can donate to us. That's another great way to support us. And sign up for our newsletter. By going to our website, signing up. That will plug you into all the great things that people are doing, all kinds of opportunities, volunteer opportunities, jobs, organizations that you think are doing something that you want to support. Because again, it's not just about supporting Rise Detroit. Rise Detroit's goal is to support all the other groups out here. We're like a free public relations advertising agency for all the nonprofit community, if you will. And that's what makes us unique. But one thing that I'd like to emphasize, that volunteerism is important, but what we're doing really is bigger than volunteerism. And I'll use this anecdote. C.T. Vivian, a contemporary of Dr. Martin Luther King, spoke in Detroit years ago and talked about the fact that during the Montgomery bus boycott, they had a saying that said, "What are you doing for the movement?" That meant you had to answer. I'm cooking food. I'm driving people to work. I'm letting people stay at my house. But you had to be doing something for the movement. And so that's the what we're trying to do here in Detroit is to create that kind of mentality. What are you doing for the movement, your community, for Detroit? You don't have to run a big organization. You don't have to have a big business. You can just sit home and porch, watch the kids come home from school safely. And maybe you can teach someone to read at a literacy program. Large or small, there's something we all can do. And we all probably have something that somebody else wants. So those are all the kinds of ways to be involved, because our work is to support all the other people who are doing great work out here. And of course, and we welcome any way that people want to connect and be involved. They can do that. They can call our office at 313-921-1955 or email us at info@arisedetroit.org. Like I said, our website, arisedetroit.org, is full of information, all kinds of videos about our work. Neighborhood Today, we're all over YouTube. If you Google Arise Detroit Neighborhood Today, you'll find all kinds of information about it. And again, it's something very positive. And I want to thank you and folks in Oakland County for reaching out to us, because quite frankly, this is totally unexpected, but I'm very pleased. And I think it's, again, an indication, if you put out positive vibes, positive work, you attract the positive. And that's what's so wonderful about Arise Detroit. We focus on the work and then be blessed in many ways. It comes back many times over. And in this holiday season, I think that's a great message.
It absolutely is. And Luther, we appreciate your time telling us more about Arise Detroit and what you and all of your partnered organizations in the city are doing to help other people and to help our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Stay safe and have a happy holiday.